While President Trump is making, and has been over the course of the past year, largely unsupported promises to support the integrity of Social Security, Bernie Sanders is out there, even today, actually doing something to try to accomplish that goal. He introduced a bill today designed to make Social Security solvent for a number of additional decades. He put forward this bill that would grant seniors with income less than $16,000 per year an additional $1,300 annually in Social Security benefits, which is not a lot per week or per month, but certainly would help. Now, you might ask, well, how is he going to pay for this additional money that's going out to those who need it most? The new legislation would apply the 6.2% payroll tax to ordinary earnings of $250,000 or more, as well as to unearned income like capital gains and dividends above that threshold. Currently, that is not the way that it works. There is a cap on your contributions to Social Security, above which you do not pay any additional money. Very rationally, a lot of people think that, hey, if we want to increase the solvency, that's a pretty easy way to do it. It's, of course, also a complete non-starter on the Republican side. Now, let's talk about the stakes briefly. The Social Security system, if left unchanged, would be 100% solvent until 2034. And there's always this number thrown around where after that it could pay out 79% of the current amount it does. I have no idea why that's what they've settled on when you could stop a year earlier and then pay a slightly higher amount. It's weird, but we've just agreed on that as a culture. Sanders' legislation extends full solvency for Social Security through 2078, according to an analysis by the Social Security Administration.
So this is a great example where the Republicans have no excuse. They're just the party of the rich, and that's it, period. Because the payroll tax is the most regressive tax there is. It applies more to the poor and the middle class, actually mainly the middle class, than it does to the rich. So that is why since the 1950s, the share of corporate taxes has gone from about 35% of all the taxes being paid to about 10% of all the taxes being paid. That's how they rigged the system, so the multinational corporations don't pay the taxes anymore. And the share of the payroll tax has gone in the exact opposite direction. It was a small portion of the taxes being paid overall to the federal government. Now it's a giant chunk. It's about a third of all the taxes that are collected because it's the tax that goes to the middle class and not the rich. So now here, there's really no reason to say that you oppose this. You say you want to protect Social Security. They say, okay, I got great ideas for protecting Social Security. Let's cut it. Mm-hmm. Or let's make you work longer and retire at a later age, and if you die before you get the benefits, I protect the Social Security. Or we could just tax people above $250,000 just the same way we tax everyone else for the payroll tax, and problem solved.
Yeah.
And the Republicans will fight tooth and nail for these tax cuts for the rich, and with no other excuse. There's no excuse about the economy or anything along those lines.
Now, there's historical reasons for all of this, okay? The reason why they present it the way they do, John, is because they always preface it with, if nothing is done. Mm-hmm. If nothing is done, if no action is taken, then it will run out of money in 2034, and then they'll have enough for 78 or 78, and the number varies a little bit year to year. That's why they frame it that way. The reason why it was capped originally was because it was supposed to be an insurance system. There's a correlation between what you pay in and what you get out. That's the reason why it would never went all the way up. But it was designed so that 90% of all income is subject to the payroll tax. What they didn't anticipate was the millionaires and billionaires were going to capture so much more of the national income that suddenly we're only taxing 80-something%. We're losing a whole bunch of revenue. So historically, they're playing by the old rules. They're kind of cheating, playing by the old rules, as opposed to saying, look, there's huge wealth inequality now, so let's lift the cap. That's the real reason to lift the cap. And I just want to add, they also love to say, well, Social Security is just IOUs. I debated a conservative about this, and my answer is, don't you pay your IOUs? What, are you a Welsher? You want to Welsh on grandmothers? Is that where you come from? Is that, of course, that is what they want to do.
Mm. This is an issue where I think Democrats have a real opportunity to exploit a wedge within the Republican Party, because obviously Paul Ryan's vision of social spending and entitlement spending is slightly different from Trump's. Or at least ostensibly they're different, because Trump ran the entire 2016 campaign, at least rhetorically, insisting that he was going to protect Social Security and he was not going to cut Medicare and so on and so forth, whereas that's diametrically opposite to what Paul Ryan has been promoting for his entire career. He kind of lives to cut programs. That's what gives his life meaning in a way. So I think Sanders, I think, has taken the right tack here, where he said, "Hey, if you were sincere in your pledges to protect these programs, I'll work with you in protecting those programs and maybe even applying additional funding, and that way you'll see maybe force a desirable divide within the Republican Party."
Yeah. I just want to back up two of the different things that Cenk raised. One is we've covered, I don't know how many times, that change in the share of taxes being paid by corporations versus people of different wealth quintiles and all that. And as Cenk said, the corporate share has been steadily going down and down and down over the past few decades. Bear in mind, we've also covered the details of Trump's proposed tax plan from back during the campaign, where he would cut corporate taxes by 2/3. And so expect that if he gets away with that, that share is going to effectively go down to nearly nothing. And he made reference, Cenk made reference to the Republican alternative to Bernie's plan, the ideas that they're okay with. And these are not our straw man version of what they want. A bill introduced by House Ways and Means Social Security Subcommittee Chairman Sam Johnson of Texas would eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits for wealthy retirees, increase the retirement age, and rein in cost of living adjustments, saving $14 trillion and extending the program's solvency by 75 years. So those are two different approaches you can take.
Let me tell you.
You can increase the benefits to those who are worst off. You can do that theoretically, but in so doing, you do have to tax the wealthiest people a little bit, and that's bad because if you were to tax them a little bit more, they would still only have a better standard of living than any other human in the history of our species. Or you could make people wait a couple more years before they retire and give them less money every single month for the rest of their life.
That means testing idea comes from the Concord Coalition and the Koch brothers, who, when they originally drafted the proposal, they said, what do you think is the level of wealth at which we ought to start cutting the benefit? They said average lifetime income of $20,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So in other words, they cut it for everybody. So when they say cutting for rich people, they really mean cutting for everybody. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. And number two, don't forget Mick Mulvaney, who is Trump's pick to budget director or director of OMB, Office of Management and Budget, who's on record saying we have to end Medicare as we know it, quote from Mick Mulvaney, and on record raising the age, thinking it's a good idea to raise the age for Social Security or cut quote unquote entitlements in some other way.
Every year that they raise the retirement age costs you tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
It is the greatest robbery in American history. Every time they raise the age, that is money you will never get back. Okay? So, and that money goes, they call it saving $14 trillion. Yeah. Who's saving it? The rich are saving it because it's going to them. And so it's an absolute crime. But I want to end on this idea, which is what Michael started with. Bernie Sanders, they said that he was impractical. Right, that was the main charge against him by the Democrats in the primaries. He doesn't know how to get things done politically. Are you kidding me?
Pie in the sky.
Yeah, this is the most savvy, practical political move there is. So where he makes this distinction very clear, if you want to raise the retirement age and you have to work another year or another 2 years, and you get less money when you retire from Social Security, then you vote with the Republicans. If you like Social Security, you want to protect it and actually get even a little bit more money, then you vote with Democrats. It is the most popular program in American history. It polls at over 80%, roughly 84% popularity. Now, Bernie Sanders has just clarified that the Republicans are against 84% of American people. That's practical, that's good politics, and that's how you win. You can help hire investigative reporters that'll chase down stories no one else will. Be the media. tytnetwork.com/go.